I'm writing this on the inside cover of my diary, which means that the rest of my entry may be entirely illegible. There's barely space for a tenth of what I wish I could write. And besides, the cover was dampened by seawater on the journey here, so that it's still slightly bent and smells of old seaweed. There's no other paper to be had. Half the shops in Brussels are still closed, since the shopkeepers fled to Antwerp or further with everyone else, and are only now beginning to trickle back. I've no other blank writing books with me, and we've used up all the writing paper in our house to take down letters for the wounded men in our care. They're all desperate to send word to their families back in England. Assurances that they are alive and expected to recover and return home, or in the saddest cases, bidding their loved ones goodbye. I wrote one of those letters just this morning, for an Irish rifleman who was shot in the stomach and has been slowly dying of the wound for the last 3 days. He's so young, younger than I am, and I'm 19. Or rather, he was so young. He died this morning, just after dictating his words to me, addressed to the girl he'd been engaged to marry. His face was stark, livid with pain, and his lips were so dry they were cracking, because the surgeon said that with a wound like his, he mustn't be allowed to drink. But he whispered his message to me, telling his betrothed how much he loved her, and that his last wish was that she go on living without him, make a life for herself, marry another man, be happy. He said she was too young to be lonely for the rest of her life. And then he died. That's really why I'm writing this, hoping that it will help me put the memory of it somewhere I can bear to keep it. Just now, I feel as though I could cry for days, except that if I once let myself start, I would not be able to stop. This entry will make quite a prologue to the first proper entries in this diary, which, flipping through, I can see are mostly an account of our Christmas at Pemberley. That seems so far removed and unreal now that even glancing at what I wrote all those months ago is like reading a novel, or looking through a window into another life. And poor Kitty. I'm so sorry for everything I wrote about her now. I feel as though we've been trapped in Brussels for an eternity, feeling the noise from the city outside beat on the walls of the Forster's house like a physical force. First the artillery fire from the fighting at Quatre Bras, then the thunder and rain on the night before the Battle at Waterloo. The cries and alarms from the street during the following endless day and night, when every moment it seemed brought another report that all was lost, that Wellington's troops had been defeated, and the French armies would be pillaging the cities by dawn. Now, even the wild celebrations of our army's victory have died down, but still the city is not quiet. It is filled with the rumble of carts, carrying the dead and dying, the groans of the wounded. There are so many wounded soldiers that hundreds of them are lying in the streets, on whatever beds of straw can be thrown down for them. Even the Duke of Wellington, who was in the thick of fighting throughout the battle, but by miracle came through it without even the slightest wound, is sad and downcast. So they say. Napoleon has been defeated, finally and completely, but at what heavy a cost. And I have had no word of Edward, no word of whether he is alive, or prisoner, or... Edward would have been in the thick of the battle too. I know him well enough to be certain of it. And he was one of Wellington's aides-de-camp. The last report we had was that before the French turned tail and fled, they killed all the British officers they had taken prisoner. I keep thinking that if Edward were killed, some part of me would know. I have turned the ring on my finger round and round 1,000 times, feeling as though the emerald would have split, or something, if he had been killed. That I must feel something myself. But would I?